of these ships are about 200 feet in length. Considering... Well, I did another 5-mile swim last week, 5.04 miles, more accurately measured this time, and I was averaging 40 minutes 52 per mile. But rather than post any more films of my swim training, I thought I'd post a detailed film of the route today. And the idea is that being able to see it in detail helps you visualise it, and for me that'll be motivating. You know, I'll get you know, a few hundred yards in and I'll be able to sort of go, oh, I know what's coming, and swim to each point, you know. So that's what I'm you know, that might be helpful to you, certainly going to be helpful to me. So I went on the river cruise from Totnes to Dartmouth, and filmed it with all the kind of waypoints that I've commented on. So enjoy. So first off, we enter the water from the slipway at the car park by Longmarsh Green, and there's a boatyard to starboard. That's the right for you landlubbers. And the so we start on the left hand side of the river, on the port side, coming down that ramp into the water. And this first stretch of the river is called Home Reach. The Dart Valley Trail and River Walk is above the starboard bank of the river. The half-mile point is where the towpath on the port side ends. You'll soon see a 6 knots speed sign to starboard. Shortly after the end of the towpath, you'll see the start of Sharpham Marshes on the starboard side. Just into the marshes, you'll see a dead tree that looks like it's been hit by lightning, but they call it the cormorant tree because often there's cormorants standing on there. About 3/4 of the way up Sharpham Marshes, which is a reed bed, there's a break in the wall that bounds it. So that's the 1 mile point of the swim. It's a gap in the wall that fronts the Sharpham Marshes, and it appears as a small creek going into the reed bed. The swim curves around the end of Sharpham Marshes on the starboard side. And as it curves around the marshes on the starboard side, it'll begin to curve around the marshes on the port side as you swim up a part of the river called the Fleet Mill Reach.
That stall.
You'll see the estate's North Quay on the starboard side. The 1.5 miles point is as you approach Fleet Mill Quay to port, and the Sharpham estate is on the starboard side here. The 2 mile point is as you approach the end of Sharpham Point.
Quite a nice deep water channel to follow. It's always worth keeping your eyes true.
Around the end of Sharpham Point, the swim enters the part of the river called the Sharpham Reach, and we soon pass the estate's South Quay on the starboard side, and then the Sharpham Bathing House. The first feeding station is around here before we round Ham Point on the port side.
Just to the right-hand side of the house. That's where up until about 18 months ago the Sharpen's vineyard was situated. They did fairly recently move the vineyard folks a little bit further down the estate. Second of the harvest. They do still have a herd of Jersey cow on the estate as well. Some very fine cheeses, including a rustic cheddar, the Sharpen really said to have a life as well.
The 2.5 mile point is as we round Ham Point on the port side.
But it is in the woodland in Totnes, folks, where there are several of the river dolphins with established canopies.
We then swim up the Ham Reach stretch of the river with Sharpen Wood to starboard. The 3 mile point is as we approach Asprington Point to starboard, with Ham Key as an indent on the port side. There might be some tents on Asprington Point. After swimming around Asprington Point, we're swimming along the Duncannon Reach stretch of the river. We'll see Duncannon Village, which is actually just a few houses with a beach on our port side.
Population was said to be about 56 pounds. You can imagine it was quite a size.
The 3.5 mile point is at the end of Duncannon Beach on the port side, and with Bow Creek opening up to starboard. We keep left, otherwise we'll go up Bow Creek and we don't want to do that, so we keep left going down the river. We go around Stoke Point. That's the first point on the Stoke Gabriel outcrop on the port side. The 4 mile point is with White Rock to starboard at the other side of Bow Creek, and then there's Mill Point of the Stoke Gabriel outcrop to port.
It's not your farmer out there.
The river widens considerably now, and you can soon look through Stoke Mouth, which opens up on the port side after Mill Point, to see Stoke Gabriel village with the church with the blue clock. And you're entering a stretch of the river called Long Stream now. The second and final feeding station is around here, with views of Stoke Gabriel to port.
It's one of the oldest and largest yew trees in the country. It's said to be more than 1,000 years old, this tree. The branches spread out for about...
You can look up the hill to port to see something of Sandridge Park to port as we approach 4.5 miles. The 4.5 miles point is where the river is very wide and open, but we can see that it's about to narrow, and we may see the moored boats ahead to starboard. And the woods cover up our view of Sandridge Park Estate to port now.
Find a male member of this crew swimming in the river. That's generally the course. I did mention a little bit earlier, I should both all the trees that line the bank today are stacked.
The river narrows again a little, approaching Pig Hole Point to port, and the moored boats are to starboard.
We're all currently travelling down the river on many oak trees.
The 5 mile point is with Blackness Marina, the north side of Ditchisham village up Ditchisham Creek to starboard, and Blackness Rock to starboard, and Sandridge Point is to port, looking up Sandridge Park Estate to port. Ladies Quay immediately follows on the port side. The 5.5 mile point is as we swim around Higher Gurrow Point of the Gurrow outcrop on the starboard side. So we passed first the Higher Gurrow Point and then the Lower Gurrow Point of the outcrop on the starboard side. Looking ahead as we pass Lower Gurrow Point is Galmpton Creek. It's ahead, but it's on the port side of the river. So straight ahead on the port side as we pass Lower Gurrow Point is Galmpton Creek. Now I'll know that a mile over the land there is Broadsand Beach in the Torbay area, and that's a beach where I did some of my training. It's in a couple of my previous training videos. But Broadsands is obviously hidden by the land between. Now in previous years of the 10k we'd have closely rounded Lower Gurrow Point to starboard and then achieved 6 miles on the way to a Ditchisham finish on the starboard side at 10k, which is about 6.2 miles. But we're heading across the water from Lower Gurrow Point to finish at Lower Greenaway on the port side of the river this year. So the 6 mile point this year then is in the stretch of water between Lower Gurrow Point and the Lower Greenaway finish. The precise finish is at a pontoon that will be placed at a small beach at the far southerly end of Galmpton Creek, to the right of those beaches, but to the left of Harewood on the port side of the river. This is what we're aiming for after leaving behind the Gurrow outcrop. But today me and my better half are going to complete this river cruise, going to Dartmouth. We'll have a bit of a drink there, one or two, or we've only got 30 minutes, so we'll have a pint there and then get back on the cruise to Totnes. So won't comment anymore, but I might as well leave the rest of the cruise on this video. And I wish you all well. Have a good swim on Saturday and Sunday of the 2nd and 3rd of September. Best of luck to you all.
So that property on our left there is known as Greenway's Bathhouse. Behind those brown doors there is a tidal plunge pool. Alright, hopefully not going to touch either of those yachts there. Folks, you will see in the back of the valley there a very large stone viaduct. That's the Greenway Viaduct. Designed and engineered by Everard King. So shortly going to be passing by a rather picturesque there. You probably imagine on every day when the sun goes down, so we just by here at the evening. Once the house of the face, the house of the face, above the tree on there on our right hand side, folks, shortly coming to